Frozen pizzas. We all know them, we all love them. We're gonna figure out which one's the best by doing it bracket style. Let's get started. Round one, we got two heavy hitters. We got the battle for the squares, Screamin' Sicilian and Tostitos. Transparency, I'm a Tostitos guy. One of my favorite frozen pizzas. Packaging, Tostitos, what the f happened? You used to give us a box when they were still round. You guys used to give us a box, now they come in a bag, and I don't have anything to put it on. Screamin' Sicilian's already winning on this. We're just gonna cut these up. What's the appropriate way to cut a square pizza? Are you supposed to do it like make little squares or make them like diamonds? I'm a diamond head myself. All right, let's cut this Screamin' Sicilian. I like my frozen pizzas a little crispier. I like them crispy, so they're all a little well done. You're looking at it. Tostitos has the cubed pepperoni. I like that. It gives me a nice bite. You're not pulling pepperoni off. I don't mind that. This also has that, but not as much, and it has the regular pepperoni on it. It's a little thicker. I know people like that. Not a fan. It's all right. I need a beverage, a palate cleanser, if you will. This is boy dinner. Frozen pizza and beer, that's all you need. So it's a little doughy, which, you know, take it or leave it. The cheese is nice. Now on to the Tostitos. It's all in the crust with this one. Listen. You know how crispy that is? That's really what this one coming down to for me. Objectively, I do think the Screamin' Sicilian is better. It's got that like trying too hard crust. Like Tostitos, you know exactly what you're gonna get. That crunch, that's what you're looking for with a frozen pizza. And their sauce, it's a very distinct sauce on the Tostitos. The sauce is, there's almost too much cheese on the Screamin' Sicilian. There's a sweetness to a Tostitos sauce that I like. Frozen pizza, it's a utility food, right? It's a food that you gotta eat, something quick, something easy, you don't feel like cooking, whatever it is. And having a tray helps this one because you don't have to do a dish. That's another thing. This, you gotta put on a plate, and if you don't have paper plates, you gotta do a dish. That's what's holding the Tostitos back right now. I'm looking at convenience here, straight up. And I don't think the Tostitos has the versatility anymore. When Tostitos gave you a box for their personal pizzas, it's a different story. But now with the bag, tough call. But I think the crust and the sauce together, it lends itself to a great personal pie. So I think for this one, I'm gonna have to go with the Tostitos. Sicilian, you put up a good fight, but I've been giving too much love to the Italians recently. This one's full-blooded American. Tostitos is moving on. Next up, got a tough one. The store brand versus DiGiorno. Not delivery versus not delivery. Both of these look like dog. This is the battle of school pizza at home. Let's cut into them. I don't like DiGiorno. The crust is too doughy. As you can see on the store brands, you got the pepperoni, the square pepperoni, like on the Tostitos. This one almost reminds me of old school Tostitos when it was still a circle. This one's got the round one. See how much thicker that is? So judging on looks alone, which one am I gonna like more? I'm leaning more towards store brand. We'll see. Start with DiGiorno. This is what you eat when your mom is gone and your stepdad has to cook you dinner. It's got divorced guy written all over it. Because it's a little bit more than just a frozen pizza, or it's trying to be more. It falls so short. It's that doughiness, I'm not a fan of it. Store brand. Honestly, that's disgusting. That's straight up school lunch. This is a terrible showing from these two teams. I was hoping that one was gonna be good. It looked good. You know, I wanna give it to the store brand because I always hated the DiGiorno commercials growing up. I hated them so much. They said it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. We were a Tostitos family, like I said, and we didn't have DiGiorno much, but I knew that it was never gonna taste nearly as good as delivery pizza. Or any kind, like Pizza Hut would blow this shit out of the water. So I was rooting for the Meyer brand. And genuinely, I don't know if I can give it the win. The sauce is bad, the cheese is bad, the crust is bad. We're like this one. There's some crunch on the bottom, the sauce is fine, the cheese is fine. It's just a little too doughy for my taste. In the battle of look-alike school lunch pizzas, I think I'm gonna have to give it to DiGiorno. Both teams played terribly, and I don't think either of them should be proud. I think DiGiorno needs to get its act together for the next round. So, DiGiorno, clear winner here, and that's saying something. Next up, we got the wild card matchup. We got French bread versus Bagel Bites. Both frozen pizza adjacent. Can't really call either of them a real pie. Oh, I burnt the out of that. Don't look at that. We didn't have Bagel Bites growing up. So I was not familiar with their game until I was in college. Good. The cheese is weird on Bagel Bites. That grainy cheese, not my favorite. It's not a bad showing. The sauce is good. The bagel's an interesting texture. It's a doughiness that I don't mind as much. Also, dunkability on these. You gotta factor that in. The dunkability it's very dunkable. You got some ranch. Now on to the French bread, which I did burn. We'll see if that affects the scoring. Well, pretty good. The bread's a lot. That's the big handicap on this one. The bread is a lot. It's a lot of bread you're eating. You gotta bite through a ton of bread in order to get to that sauce and cheese and the that you're going to the pizza for. I'm not saying that crust doesn't play a pivotal role in pizza, but it's gotta balance out the rest. It's gotta play with the sauce and the cheese and the pepperoni. That being said, I do like this. I don't hate it. This is a good matchup here. Bagel Bites, dunkability. The French bread, it's something different. These are both something different. And for that, I think I gotta give it to the Bagel Bites on dunkability alone. The ability to change the flavor profile of what you're eating just by simply dunking it in something. This is a tough matchup. I do like both. Wild cards, surprising. Bagel Bites, moving on. Last battle of the first round. The true battle for the circular za. We got Jack's Pizza, my go-to, versus the local frozen pizza. Everybody's grocery store now has like 30 bespoke frozen pizza brands. This one happens to be lots of mozzarella. Stupid name, not a fan, but it did look good. It came in one of the smaller ones with the cheese, like the actual grated cheese, cut into these. Jack's, it's a budget pizza. It is a very budget pizza. These used to be $1, but now they're $3. The inflation's out of this world. These pizzas are also getting lukewarm, so mind you that. I'm a fan of Jack's. It's my go-to on my way home from work. They sell it at a lot of gas stations around here. With that being said, I'm excited for the lots of mozzarella. You see all that browning around it? That looks pretty mean. This was $4 and this was $4. You get more pizza with this. And I like I said, I like the crispiness of when it comes to frozen pizzas. So we're gonna see how that goes. I could have let this go a little longer. Couldn't fit it in my oven with the other. So the crispiness might be lacking. I knew what to expect and it met those expectations. Jack's Pizza is a solid contender. The cheapest, it comes with a tray. This one also came with a tray. You can share it with 2 people if you need a little snack. You can eat a whole one if you're really hungry. It's always a good choice. Now, under the unknown, the new player. This one's interesting. The pepperoni's underneath the cheese. Probably could have let it go a little longer too. It's soft, but I think that's my fault. I got scared that I was gonna burn them. That's about the closest thing you can get to delivery pizza at home. From what I've tested in my personal life and right now, this pizza's motto should be it's not delivery, it's lots of mozzarella. That's fantastic. The new guy's coming in hot here, because I was rooting for Jack's. I love Jack's Pizza. But I gotta say, that's a damn good pie. It's expensive, that's the downside. When you go into the more bespoke frozen pizzas, it gets a little pricey. You're stepping into Little Caesars territory with that one. $4 for a small, $3 more and I can get it hot and ready. I'm not saying I want that all the time, I'm not saying that it's always the most convenient, but I'm saying it's there. But if you buy them in advance, have them in your fridge ready to go, you're not looking at a bad option. And I think we have our first upset of the bracket. Lots of mozzarella is gonna edge Jack's Pizza out. And I'm upset about it, I'm not happy about it, but that's a good pie. Lots of mozzarella, you're moving on. Jack's, you're out, unfortunately. Next round, semifinals, updated bracket right here. First game of the second round. We got 2 dynasties going at it. Tostitos versus DiGiorno. Grocery store staples. Everybody ate them both growing up. Friends' houses, wherever. And then quite frankly, this one's gonna be a blowout. Start with the heavily favored Tostitos. That crunch, even a little burnt. It was close to the side of my oven. Leave me alone. But that crunch, it just reminds you getting out of school at 3 o'clock, getting home, being like, I need a little something before practice tonight. And that feeling is channeled through there, through Tostitos. Tostitos, it's not a meal. That is the one thing about it. This is not a meal pizza. This is a snack pizza. Whether you get home from the bar drunk and you're like, I need something. I need a med pack here. Tostitos, med pack. It's not a meal. You can eat 2 of them, but then why would you do that and not just cook a bigger frozen pizza? DiGiorno is a personal pan size. They make a full size. I don't think the options are gonna help this very much. It doesn't have that crispiness crunch that you want from a frozen pizza. It's got that like trying to be nice pizza and then it kind of bends and like lightly snaps. It tastes almost stale. And that's what I don't think I like about it. Like Tostitos, this one's been sitting out for a little while. But even though it's been sitting out, it's still got that snap to it that I love. It's nostalgic. It's perfect for when you're in a pinch and you need a little something, but you don't want to eat a full Jack's Pizza. And quite frankly, this was easy favorite going into this round. Tostitos, you're moving on. DiGiorno, get the f out of here. One more battle in the second round. We're looking at wild card, Bagel Bites versus up-and-comer, lots of mozzarella. And I have to say, Bagel Bites is at quite a disadvantage here. Let's give it a try. brings a lot to the table. It's not necessarily perfect as is, but like I said in the last round, dipability factor off the charts with this pie. And even with that, the ability to change, I think it's got an uphill battle here because it's got strong weaknesses. The grainy cheese, it's not quite pizza, so if you're craving a frozen pizza, it might not satiate that feeling. It's definitely underrated here. These aren't even the real Bagel Bites. I'm sure the real ones are slightly better, but hey, let's give the lots of mozzarella another try. Great za. Again, I'm looking at price point as the major negative. Salary cap space. This is the most expensive pie on this list. DiGiorno in a close second, just to kick the body while it's down. So good. But Bagel Bites are some of the cheapest on this list. This is a matchup between grit and passion and care versus money and resources and everything else. As much as I would like to see Bagel Bites move on, I gotta go with the lots of mozzarella. The new guy, holding his own. It's got room for growth. Could be crispier. It's everything you want in a frozen pizza, minus the price. Bagel Bites, you're out of here. Good showing, but not quite it. Lots of mozzarella, you're going to the finals. Let's go. Final round. What are we looking at here? We got Tostitos versus lots of mozzarella. This is a tough matchup. Lots of mozzarella proving itself in this tournament, showing to me that it deserves a place at the table. Tostitos, a classic, consistently good for decades. Little change up around a couple years ago, where they got a little shaky, where they were losing touch and they lost their box and switched to a bag and made their pizzas square. But it's still been a staple in the frozen pizza aisle at the store. We're gonna start with Tostitos. I mean, what more can I say about it? It might be one of the best frozen pizzas. It's got such a unique flavor that if you tried blindfold taste test these, you'd be able to pick this out every time. It's a tough battle going up against lots of mozzarella. We're gonna give it a try. It is good. It's getting cold, but it's not quite hitting quite as hard. It does hold heat a little better than Tostitos does. I pulled these out of the oven at the same time. Tostitos is actually cold, and this one is lukewarm. So that is a bonus. But one thing in this tournament that has been consistent about Tostitos is that I've finished the slice on every round. Every battle, been the only one that I kept picking up. I think that says a lot about the character of a pizza. Lots of mozzarella, and put up a hell of a fight here. It really did, but the underdoneness, holding it back here, which you could say it's my fault, but if you look at the edges of this, the edges are crispy, the bottom uncooked. Top brown, bottom undercooked. It might still be my fault. Maybe I overcrowded the oven. But at the end of the day, I don't know if it has enough to beat the big guy. He's got nostalgia on its side. And in this fight, I don't know if you can beat that. So for that, we're giving the winner Tostitos.